Hey guys, Senza here, and welcome to another Shadowlands Alpha video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Fury Warrior. Now, Fury Warrior has always been um, a fun class for me to play. That fantasy of just dual-wielding, giant two-handed weapons was just great, and it's gotten really fast, especially in BFA. The speed of the attacks and just going through, like you do feel like a Fury Warrior. Like you do feel like just this mad person just going around, going crazy and attacking everything. And I think that they did that really well actually in BFA. And in Shadowlands, for the most part, it's still there. You still feel like you're, going fast. You still feel Fury. You just, getting rage generation, as you can see, pretty good. There has been some substantial reshuffling of talents and a little bit of change to talents and some abilities, and of course new baseline abilities. But for the most part, especially when you're comparing a fully leveled and decked out BFA warrior to a leveled warrior, of course it's going to feel slower, and it does feel a little bit slower. And part of that is some of the fact that the haste from rage is a little bit lower, but this is just a leveling. When we see everything combined, I do think that Fury Warrior is going to be just as good and probably even better than it is in BFA. So let's go ahead and get to those changes. Alright, now for the main changes, I'm going to start with the Spellbook, go with the baseline abilities that were added, and then some changes to skills, and then finally the talent tree, which was kind of changed significantly. So first of all, just for warriors in general, you get Ignore Pain and Intervene and Shattering Throw baseline. You also will get Shield Block and Shield Slam, which also, they require a shield, but you can equip it. You probably won't as a Fury Warrior, but it is possible. And then Slam and Spell Reflection. Then as you level up, you'll actually get Challenging Shout as well. But yeah, those are the baseline abilities. And for Fury specifically, there are no new baseline abilities, but there have been a couple changes. So Recklessness does the same thing, but as you level, I already leveled past the level, but I think it's 52. Recklessness will last 2 seconds longer. And then Enrage is actually less, a little bit less damage, and instead of the 25% haste, I believe, in live, it's 15%. So yeah, it's pretty noticeable. Just overall, you notice that it's a little bit slower. It's not just super fast, but that might also have to be with leveling. At a max level with all the stuff, Fury Warrior will probably be just as fast as it is in BFA. And I believe there was something else. Oh yeah, so at 58, executes damage is increased. So still have Titan's Grip. There's no single-minded Fury for those that are wanting that. But yeah, they might add it in later. I haven't seen anything to say they will, but yeah, those are all the skill and baseline changes. Oh, and then of course they're buffed like other casted buffs, so it's down to 5% instead of the 10%. But that's across the board. Just going over those abilities again real quick. The general abilities. Ignore Pain for anybody that may not have played or know about how the tank prot warrior works. Ignore Pain, literally you prevent 50% of the damage taken up to a certain amount. And for Fury, it costs 80 rage, whereas for arms it costs 40. And I think that's just because you can generate Fury much better. You can generate rage much better as a Fury Warrior. And arms, always has a rage problem, so it makes sense. That's actually costs more for Fury. Intervene is basically just charge, but you can run an ally, so that's pretty useful. and Shattering Throw is coming back, and it's on a 3-minute cooldown. It does damage, it ignores armor and removes magical immunities, and it also deals up to 500% increased damage to absorb shields. So say goodbye to paladins using those bubbles. And then of course shield block is it's a defensive, just blocks the melee attacks, and shield slam just damages with your shield. Again, ability that you probably won't be using as a Fury Warrior. And then Spell Reflection on a 25-second cooldown, and it'll raise your weapon and reflects spells cast on you, reducing magical damage you take by 20%. And it only lasts for 5 seconds or until a spell is reflected. Excuse me. So it's just a short cooldown that will reflect one spell. So that's all for the skills. Now let's go to the talents, because things have changed quite significantly overall, and we're just going to go row by row. So War Machine is still in there. Auto attack generate 10% more rage. I don't think that's any different. Yeah. Yep, that's the same. And Sudden Death is the same. And now Inner Rage is in BFA, but it's on a different row. So they moved it to the first row instead of Fresh Meat. And now Fresh Meat was added to the third row, and it was changed. So in Shadowlands, Fresh Meat talent will make your Bloodthirst always enrage you the first time you hit a target, and then it'll have a 15% increased chance to enrage. So if you look at the Spellbook, the enrage, it says Bloodthirst has a 45% chance to enrage. That's because I'm using the talent. Normally it's 30%. So that's pretty significant. In BFA, Fresh Meat makes Bloodthirst deal increased. It heals you for 20% more. Still has the 15% increased chance, but then it heals you. So they took away the extra healing effect and instead made it so that it always enrages you. Now, this row is the same, and of course, Fresh Meat. Massacre is the same, but Massacre was on a different talent row, so they moved it up to 3 on the same row with Fresh Meat and Furious Slash, which is the same. Furious Charge is the same, and Bounding Stride, Warpaint, those are all the same. Now this row gets a little bit interesting. Frothing Berserker works the same way. Increases your haste and movement speed when you get 100 rage. I believe it's the same. 10% haste, 20% speed. I'm just checking. I have BFA up in another window just to make sure that everything is right. And yeah, it's actually more. So okay, yeah, actually Frothing Berserker is a little bit different. So on BFA, Frothing Berserker makes Rampage cost 95 rage, and it increases your damage done in haste by 5% for 6 seconds. So in Shadowlands, Frothing Berserker makes it so that when you reach 100 rage, you gain 10% haste and 20% movement speed. So again, the damage bonus is not there, but the haste bonus is more, and it doesn't affect Rampage at all. So that's pretty different. Onslaught is a new ability, and it's just a damaging ability that generates rage, and it also requires enrage. So you can only use it kind of like how the old Raging Blow was, where you can only use it while you're enraged. You can only use Onslaught while enraged. Now I've tried this ability out, and it's not bad, but it still is a little awkward. I thought it'd be cool having another ability, and it is nice if you want another ability, but it just doesn't seem smooth in my opinion. And then Fervor of Battle will make it so that Whirlwind generates 3 more rage and slams the primary target. So kind of like the Arms Fervor of Battle, except for Fury, Whirlwind generates rage instead of spending rage. So this is actually kind of nice, and it leads on to the next talent row with Wrecking Ball, an old one coming back, where becoming enraged has a 25% chance to make your next Whirlwind deal 300% more damage. So you may have noticed if you've played Fury in BFA, the Endless Rage talent is not in here, and Carnage is not in here, which are two of the talents that most people will use. Endless Rage gains 6 rage whenever you enrage, and then Carnage um, reduces the cost of Rampage and increases its damage. So that mixed with the change of Frothing Berserker means Rampage still hits hard, but not, um, it doesn't get as boosted as it did before. And then, yeah, Bladestorm and Dragon Roar are the same, and these are all the same. So, yeah, those are all the changes to the talents. Again, quite different. Now, in terms of how I enjoyed playing it, I've tried out all the talents, all the different combinations, and War Machine is always, going to be really good as long as you're able to kill people. Otherwise, sudden death. Having hit Inner Rage on this row is not bad. If you want to get some more raging blows, and honestly, with some effects like in Torghast and potential legendary effects, this might actually be a pretty decent talent. Because there's one where when you use Raging Blow, actually not even for the effects for the Necrolord banner, for instance, Raging Blow will give you a stack of glory. So this might be a decent talent if you're using the Necrolord as your Covenant ability. But Fresh Meat is actually pretty decent, especially considering the role that it's on. I mean, having Execute have lower cooldown is nice, and definitely can be, it's situational between this one. And I mean, Furious Slash has always just been a ability I just never really liked. So, but if you're able to do it and keep up the buff, then it's a good haste buff. It's 6% extra haste as long as you're able to keep it up and it generates rage. But I personally like Fresh Meat. I like being able to get that initial enrage off without having to use Rampage. And yeah, Fervor of Battle is really nice in AoE situations because you're generating more rage and you're slamming the target. So it's just literally a better whirlwind, which you're going to be using all the time in AoE situations, so you can cleave onto people. And again, Onslaught was not bad. Combined with Siegebreaker, it won't be terrible, especially using Whirlwind to get both of those on the target, but not my favorite. Frothing Berserker is okay, but it does change sort of how you play because you pretty much want to always get to 100 rage. And since Rampage only costs 80 rage, you're basically making sure that you hit 100 before using Rampage. So it takes a little bit more attention when you're using that one. But yeah, that's it. The other talents have been just decent. I mean, in just a huge AoE situation, any of these roles would be good. But if you're using Fervor of Battle, Wrecking Ball is not a bad choice. But that's all of the changes to Warrior. All the class changes, the talent changes. So, well, for Fury Warrior. I'll be doing a separate video for Arms Warrior. So, if you liked the video, please give a like and subscribe for future videos. I'll be doing plenty of Shadowlands Alpha content. And as always, thanks for watching.